and you're not showing that to your customers, and then in the end, only when they do the checkout, you're suddenly showing them, okay, well that's the shipping cost, okay, and they have to check out and they pay for it, or sometimes you don't even show that at all. That is a very risky thing to do. And lots of e-commerce sites unfortunately do that. But you've got to be aware of that. You've got to be aware that everything that you'll be charging your customers for, you've got to show that. You can't be charging them for something and not show that into their bill, okay? Again, another important thing is then how you're going to handle the returns. Of course, you're always going to have unhappy customers. You're always going to have products that maybe are damaged, products that are not delivered as they're supposed to be. Okay, and that we covered that into our fulfillment lecture in the previous weeks. But these are some of the things you need to be thinking about, because that is all extra cost to your company. Extra cost reducing the profit margins. Reducing the profit margins, you running into risk of actually not being able to cover the cost, and therefore chances of going bankrupt are quite high. Pricing, okay? Well, shipping costs, okay, supplier costs, fulfillment costs, things like that do affect whether you're going to make any profit or not. Okay? Last year, as a case study, we had Ocado, right? For the same module, the same in the middle of the lectures, all right? So we talked about Ocado, that was our case study. And Ocado, until now, they haven't been making any profit. For the first time this year, they're making a profit. They are a successful online business, grocery business, and however they do quite well in sales and everything, but until now, they were not making a profit. So for the first time this year, they started to make a profit. Why? Because of their, a huge investment that they made into their fulfillment, shipping, handling returns, handling packaging, and all of those processes within the company. So it is quite important to realize that we all want to, lots of us want to be in the business and sell things, okay? But sometimes, because we're so excited about running an online business, we actually forget to realize all the costs involved and answer very simple questions. Can we make profit? If we can't make it now, when do we estimate that we'll be able to make the profit? Okay? So that's one of the things to realize. And again, I just mentioned factors that do affect the price. Okay? Again, the suppliers, the shipping cost, all of those do affect the price. You need to realize that. Because if you don't, again, you run into risk of having very low profit margins or not at all. Okay, so what I want you to do now is, since we're talking about different components of e-commerce sites, I want you to just spend like maybe 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes maximum, discuss about one of the key features on your favorite e-commerce site and why do you like that, okay? So if you spend 5 minutes in pairs discussing about what is the key feature in the e-commerce site that you like the most and why, okay? Okay, so should we start again? Can I just get from you some of the components, some of the features that are your favorites in an e-commerce site? Just quickly. Anyone? What are the features you discussed through? Yes, please.
We were discussing about Asos, about how when, for example, when girls go on there, or I know my girlfriend goes on there, she buys more than she needs because they offer free returns.
Yeah.
So you can just put the clothes back in a bag that provide it's free to return it, and they refund the money straight away to your bag within a certain amount of time to your account. So because of the fact that she knows she doesn't have to go through the hassle of kind of sending it back, it's all literally done for you as you receive your items. Well, I think so. That's what she tells me.
She's just not telling you the right.
I know that. She orders more than she actually needs because she can return it. purely because of the fact that she doesn't like it, she can send it back straight away. So
it's almost as buying in a real store, isn't it?
Yeah, so the feature would be the return policy.
Absolutely. So that's one of the unique selling points, you know, free returns. Again, that is a cost to the company, but because they're really major, you know, fashion online retailer, they can handle that. But some times ago, they couldn't. And, you know, they did charge their customers for it, but now they don't.
Yes. It also made a comparison to, I mean, I think the question depends on the product you buy. So when you buy something like a Kindle Fire, he was saying that they only have it available in America, so you couldn't go on the British eBay, you had to go on the American eBay to buy it.
Yeah.
So that, and also the same with computer games and new Call of Duty. It's not about the quality, it's about who's selling it the cheapest, to be honest, because it's all the same.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
Tesco's was, well, when I did my research, Tesco's was the cheapest, so I didn't care about the reputation of the company, it was all about price. So
absolutely.
It depends on what you're buying.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other feature? That's a really good one, and one of the unique selling points, in this case of Asos. But there are lots of other features that you need to be thinking about, okay? And these are some of the things that, some of the specific features that we like to cover you in the exams, in the exam questions, okay? So, just as you explained, we want something like that, and a few more details. That is what he shows, that you really went forward and dig deep into that specific components to talk about and cover in the exam. Okay, you know, there are some really important parts and the work that the basket needs to do for your e-commerce site. Okay, some of the key services in the way that the basket of your e-commerce site needs to be able to do very well. Okay, and those are, of course, the Ajax. Most of the baskets are built on Ajax programming language. Okay, and the reason for doing that is because it automatically updates that with your stock. Okay, and as you shop along with your experience. Then another good thing is providing reassurance. Okay, reassuring your customers that, you know, everything that they want, whatever they want to buy in your site, you know, you will keep the data they give to you in your system very, very securely. Okay, again, updating of quantities and deletions. So it has happened many times when you shop online and then you start adding products into the basket and then you suddenly check the basket is empty, is zero. And you just say, well, I just added 2 new products. It's because of course their basket that is built in Ajax is probably not well synchronized with the shop that they provide. Okay? So that is the most annoying bit. When you're shopping online, you add products into the basket, and as you keep shopping, the basket is still empty. It's like going at Asos or whatever, one of those shopping places, you know, and you start buying things and putting in your basket, suddenly you look at it and it's empty. And you say, that can't be true. I just added 3 products in here and they're not there. Okay? So it's quite important to be able to provide this key feature for you when you have an e-commerce site, okay? And then again, showing the total number of items, and of course reflecting of the current cost, current price. So you need to make sure that, you know, if an item that has been added to the basket of $5.50, it displays in the basket as a $5.50. And doesn't display in the basket as, I don't know, $8.50, including the shipping cost, because you'll get confused. And you say, well, you know, I just seen that was $5.50, why is $8.50? So having said that, it's absolutely essential to be able to have that kind of, you know, live updates automatically checked. Okay, link to checkout. Of course, when you add something into the basket, you normally need to have that feature just below the basket every time you scroll around the basket to actually check out immediately. And that's one of those things that normally lots of e-commerce sites do get it really wrong. Okay, and then you wonder why a friend of yours, or like, I don't know, you have an e-commerce site that is really fantastic, it gives a really good customer journey, but suddenly it's just not selling. It's not selling. Why? Why? There's so many questions. Well, this could be one of the reasons. And it's a very simple thing, it's a very small thing, okay? But it really, you know, it breaks that joy of a customer shopping in your store. And of course, it gives different doubts whether they should keep shopping in your site or not. Whether you'll keep hiding things from them. And that's just the one thing that if they realize you're not showing them everything that they're doing in your site, they leave. Because they start getting worried, okay? Again, we'll look at several specific things when it comes to, we talked about the basket, and this is just one of the experiences when I was just, I do use Asos, I do buy products from their site, and it's really, really good. And again, let's just say this is the basket, that is something that automatically shows me, you know, that I've got something on my basket. Again, I can also save things on my basket, which is quite a useful feature to have. Again, lots of web e-commerce sites don't have that. That's not to say that it's a cheap feature to include into your site, but it's really important because you might want to save things and then shop again later on. Or you're just bored, you don't know what to do, you like shopping, and you're just going to go and just browse things, okay? And it doesn't mean that you will buy, but you just want to have a look around and see what's new. And so that's why saved items as the feature is really useful indeed. Another important thing is that you need to give to your customer everything. You need to tell them. You need to tell them what's happening, okay? You tell them what's happening with their basket. You need to tell them what's happening in their, what is in their shopping bag, okay? What is there? What's in the basket, okay? There is the, in this case, you know, a jacket or whatever, you know, in there. And you need to tell them what it is, what color, what details, you know, and of course, how much it will cost. So you need to give them a clear picture, and Asos is really good at that. Okay, and again, you need to allow them an opportunity to change if they wanted to change something. Okay? Another important thing is the shipping, right? You need to tell them how many methods of shipping you offer. Okay? Because customers need to have, you know, an option to make a choice, right? So some of them, depending on if you really need it, if it's something you needed, you know, urgently, you probably might want the next day delivery, okay? But you need to be able to have that feature. So again, in this whole page, you've got all these different, you know, features that they're offering you. And that's really good. They offer everything in one place. And that is essential, okay? Again, the other thing is, of course, payment. You need to make it very clear, crystal clear, what types of payments you accept, right? Because sometimes you might really find some really nice products, but then you realize you can't pay with PayPal, and maybe you just, you know, you don't want to use your you know, credit card, and you only want to use your PayPal, but they don't accept PayPal payment. So suddenly you lost, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes of your time, and you found something you really like, but you just can't check out and can't buy it because they don't accept PayPal. So it's essential to tell them, to give them all information in one place, okay? And another thing is that, of course, there's a really big call to action button, okay? These are called call to action button. From the name, you ask your customer to make an action. That's what it means, really. Okay? So, really, really powerful call to action, because when you look at it, it says, pay securely now. Most of the site will say, pay for this. Okay? Pay. Make the payment. Right? But they really look after the customers. They really want to make sure. This is another reassuring point where you say, I'm happy to pay for this because, you know, they're reassuring me. They're telling me that this is fine. Of course, you know, in this case it's Asos. There might be a website that says this, but they don't deliver. But Asos do deliver that. Okay, but it's something that will work very well for customers. It's reassuring, okay? And that is another important thing. Again, when it comes to the shipping, you will